Hi, my name's Ross Waterston, the creator and founder of Geordie Consulting and Geordie Intelligence, the YouTube channel you're watching today. What I thought we're going to do today is we're actually going to look at some maps. We're going to put some maps together, and then we're going to do kind of the important thing that often happens with maps, which will probably help shape some of what we do. Because if you remember, what we looked at last week was around kind of the idea of layers in Power BI and how you go up and down through them. And with that in mind, what it really means is that your maps become much more kind of that dropping off point that you're then going to drill down or drill through from. So let's go through, let's set up some stuff, let's have a look at our data. And this time we'll put stuff into our file so that you can really actually expand on it. So there'll be something you can get from GitHub. But first, let's do the boring bit. Geordie Intelligence is, of course, a YouTube channel. As such, it's entirely dependent on likes, subscribes, and the interactions that you give it. So please, take a moment, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below to tell us what you like, what you don't like, what you're eating right now, what your opinions are on insert name here. So here we are in Power BI Desktop. Now this is the week 7 file. I've already renamed it week 10 because obviously all the work we do with it will then be published up and made available for you in GitHub so you can download it from there. The key thing that I want you to really recognize here on this page 3 side is we've got a map, okay? Now this map is using a hierarchy. So if we zoom in, you can see we've got a location hierarchy. So we've got state, city, and postcode. So it means we can drill up and drill down within our map. So our map can zoom in and zoom out, which is very useful in terms of what you want to do with it. Right? In practical sense, we'd probably only want to go down to city, just in practical terms, but it's nice to be able to see what you can do, that you can go further if you need to. What you can't do with maps, and I think this is one of the things I want to make really clear now, is I think I've only seen this really in icon maps that you can do it with it, which is a paid map now. The free version has been discontinued, but you can't have latitude and longitude and friendly names. Okay, so if you go lat long, your out of the box tooltip, if we have a look over, say here, over Texas, which will currently say state of Texas, region central, so all the information there, it would just show the latitude and longitude, which then doesn't make sense. You'd have to then put in the location somewhere and bring it through, or you need to put in a custom tooltip. If you put in a custom tooltip, the bit at the bottom that comes out here and allows drill down disappears. So there's a trade-off straight away. But I hope this is important. I want you to see kind of the way that this works and start thinking through the value add, what this will bring to you. So for our map here, and this is just using the Bing, and the Azure map has a very similar way of working as well. So we can tell you, well, let's switch to Azure Maps because that's what I think Microsoft are trying to get people to do at the moment. And I know when you open them, they're like, all right, switch to Azure Maps. So let's switch to Azure Maps, and then anything we see is Azure Map based rather than this. Okay, so Azure Maps, it's similar, isn't it? I mean, it's a different map. Of course it is, but it's similar. The main thing is, this is more the way that they want you to use it now. If we hover over, say, an area, we see we still get the drill down. Okay, that's interesting. The numbers are different. Are they different? Is it different granularity there? Hang on. Yeah. So there. Who'd have thunk it? Because I thought sales amount we'd set to not have decimal places. Okay, so interesting one. So we'll switch back to Bing Maps. Sorry, to Azure Maps. Okay. So this now goes all the way down to everything, but it's fine. But we can see we've got this capability here. We can change map types depending on what we would want. You know, if there's obviously some people where I don't like this map. Again, when we start talking about standards within an organization, this is a key point, isn't it? What standards are you going to have for your maps? Map type should be one of them that you have. We've got all sorts of other things here as well. including a reference layer. So reference layers can be very useful. We should do a video specifically on reference layers. I might do a short one looking at some of the reference layers and where we can get them from. Because I think we should really, we'll do that. I will do that, actually, rather than looking at it today. Lots of things you can put on here. There's Azure Maps, especially, I would say it's still, for all it is GA now, I think it is still developing. So I would say experiment with it. Things like in terms of using cluster bubbles, in terms of using, because you can cluster stuff, as I say, which can work, but when you get to the point like that, is it beneficial? I'm not sure. It's useful if you've got clusters of data, but it removes the cluster, as it were. Yeah, it doesn't so much smear it as remove it. We've got a bubble layers, but what happens when we drill? That's the key piece here, isn't it? So if we hover over, say, Florida, or let's hover over New York. Let's do New York. Okay, so if we hover over, we get to drill down. I'm going to drill down. And it then shows us the various things. We've got New York City. We can see here. We've got Troy. If we picked, say, New York City, you see we get the option to drill down again, which is now going to take us down to the postal code, so we can see it zooms in and we've actually got quite a nice map of New York. It's like we're obsessed with New York, isn't it? Yeah, it's not like we don't know where John Wick lives. But yeah, anyway, we're not going to go there today. So we can start to see that this allows us to drill up and drill down and explore data and explore the geographical sense of our data quite easily. And as I say, just from saying things like, oh, we know where John Wick lives, we're already bringing context to it. I'm sure if I mention John Wick, very few of you are going to go, I've never heard of John Wick. But there's a memory there that you have from it. We could go into Texas and look at where SpaceX launched their rockets from. We could try and do the same in Florida and see if we can find Cape Canaveral. But it becomes very clear that there's context to it. So that's why maps are so powerful. But what I found and what we've done and what we did with, say, the England Food Hygiene is we had the idea where we had to have a hierarchy kind of situation for our region and local authority. And then we had to have detail in terms of latitude and longitude for the actual location of where it was going. Now, for a retailer like this, you're never going to have latitude and longitude for all your customers. I would certainly hope you're not. If you have that information, don't use it, okay? Do not put maps in your business based on customer location. It really doesn't add any value to it. If you're going to say it does, I'll explain why. If you know where somebody's purchased something, what it does is it focuses your mind to say, well, that's the location, but that's just the location they purchased it. They might only spend 5 minutes a day there. So from a company perspective, that's a level of detail that isn't actually adding a great deal of value to you. What you'd be more interested in understanding is, well, what's their locale? Because that way then helps you determine in terms of, well, should we do radio advertising, television advertising, any other kind of advertising to really get the message to them? And that's just much more important than knowing, well, they're here. Because if they're here and you end up with lots of them here, you've got lots of dots. But then what do those dots equate to? Is it this postal code? Is it this state? Is it this city? And once you're at that point, then you should have just used these dots. Yeah? Good. I hope you understood that. Okay? So we've got this. So we've got this nice way, haven't we, of going up and down through these things. So the question would be, wouldn't it? If we're going to say, well, we're going to get rid of postal code, just for the sake of argument with this, let's just say we'll get rid of postal code from this. Okay, so we can go down to city. Then what we can do is we can say, well, what we're going to do is we're going to put postal code as a drill through. Okay, so we're going to create some different things with this. Right, so the first thing I want to create is I want to create a new tooltip. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a new page, because a tooltip is just a page. On the page here, under the canvas settings, you can see where it says this, we're going to pick tooltip. And it makes it teeny weeny, as you can see. What we can do though is we can, if you really want, you could pick custom and you can put in specific size. So you don't have to use the size that it creates for it, okay? You can pick any size that you want. You could even use a full page tooltip. Wouldn't advise it, because it just makes a mess and causes all sorts of problems, but you can, okay? It needs to be small enough that it doesn't block the whole rest of the visual, but big enough that you can kind of show the content. So, you know, you might want to make it a little bit bigger, make it a little bit smaller, you know, those kind of things. That's fine. What I'm going to do next, I'm going to go to View, and I'm just going to tell it to make this full screen, just because it makes my life much easier. So fit to width, fit to page, sorry. Okay, so we've got now our page that we're going to show. Now, what we can do next is we've got, what's the tooltip going to be based on, haven't we? Okay, so page information, it's going to be a tooltip, show tooltip on, and this is an interesting one. So what we can do is we can put specific information about this tooltip. And I'm going to try something different here. I haven't tried for a long time, so we'll see if this works with Bing Maps. So what we're going to do is we're going to put state in here. Okay, so we can put state in. In theory, you can put state, you can put, yeah, we'll put state in. Okay, so we know we're going to have state. So what we can then do is let's put in state here onto the page. So what we want is we just want state, and we're going to make that a text box card. There we go. Okay, so we want first state. Right, and we, you know, we give it some space, make it this, make it that, full width. You're saying, well, what does that mean? So if we go, we'll just call this TT because we'll need to go back and forth through it, won't we? TT state, okay? So if we're on 3 now, and we hover over here, so it shows us Texas, Florida, okay? So this is one of the things that Power BI does. It will dynamically build your tooltips when they're needed, okay? So we can see it's going to work for us. Potentially at Pennsylvania, so we do know we need to potentially change the size of this. So let's go here, size and style, not size and style, call that value, isn't it? Let's drop that down to say 30 point. Okay. And we don't need the label, do we? Category label, no. Let's do that. Okay, so we've now got Alabama, or the name of the state. So the next thing we could do is we could say put in a chart, and we could put month year, and then we could put salesman. Okay. Why is that not? Texas month year. Why else is this salesman? That should be different, shouldn't it? Why am I not? The year's not working. I'll just copy that. But that's it's nice that you can drag and drop and copy and paste things between visuals. But remember, size changes do make some of these very awkward. Okay, so we've got that. So this does work. Let's get rid of that. Oh, it's because we did that, wasn't it? There we go. Okay, so we get this. Yeah, we'd probably do it with a shorter range or something like that. In real world, we would use like a proper offset for it. But we've quickly built something, haven't we, where we can see what's going on. Let me see. Can we further reduce the size of these things? Because they're still too big, aren't they? Let's make year basic. 2016, isn't it? Here we go. Okay. So we've got 12 months in there, okay? You would do a rolling 12 months in whatever you're doing, don't worry. Because this stops back in 2017, just difficult to do. So we can go back, we've got a lovely map here, haven't we? And we can see, right, okay, if we pick on Florida, we can see performance month over month, okay? And we could then say, well, what we want to do is we could say, well, if we come back to the tooltip state, let's remove this and let's put in a text box. Let's reshape this. Okay, and these text boxes in Power BI are getting very good these days. They just are a nightmare to try and move around pages. Microsoft hint, hint. If you want to make my life easier, make tooltips work really easily to be resized and moved. There we go. Now we can grab it. Right. Right, where did it go? I'm going to cut a big chunk of this video out. Okay. Right. Yay. So we got that. Right. So what we're going to do is we're going to go, like, let's insert a value. State. Okay. So we've got state. So we're going to send to that. And you're going, well, big whoops, Ross, you managed to put state in. You'd already done that before, hadn't you? Let's bring that back. Let's put that back up to 28, say. Oh, we'll go a bit lower than 28. It was that big. 18. There we go. Okay. Let's do this. Drop this down. Let's go to a new line here. These things. I have said how much I love doing these days. And then we can insert another value. Total sales. And then we're at value. This is going to be sales. Sales amount. Okay. And that is going to be currency. And we don't want any decimal places. Okay. So we can choose, let's make this make it bold. And let us center all that. Okay, and we probably want to make this bigger. Okay, drop that down, get rid of the line. There we go. This down. Okay, so we've got something, haven't we? All of a sudden, we've pieced this together. These text boxes, they are great. Bringing these values in, they are great, but my goodness me, are they finicky? Can't even say it. Okay, there's just gotchas all over the place with them. So what we've suddenly got then is we can hover over and we can see kind of what's going on. So we've got an indicator of where we are. We could put more stuff in. We can do more. We can see like trending. We've got the total sales for it. So we can see we're actually really building up that process, aren't we? But you can see the drill down has disappeared. So what we end up having to do is to right click to then drill down. And if we drill down into say Virginia, you see that this doesn't really work anymore, does it? For all we still have Virginia and it still filters, it's not bringing the right information through for us on this tooltip. So it's not ideal for us. So it's one of those gotchas. You need to think through what you're doing. There are ways you can do it. So we can write a measure that would return the state if it has one value, city returns spot. Let's do that, shall we? Okay, so DAX measures, new measure. I'm going back to using this because they're saying it's very Copilot, which Power BI Copilot doesn't exist. I'm going to keep saying it. One day Microsoft might listen, or they might tell me to cease and desist, never talk about it again. State or city equals be a variable, wouldn't it? VAR. No, it's not. Sorry, I'm literally just thinking about it. Let's just do this. Right, VAR true. Has one value. Address city. If that's the case, then it is going to be let's get the marked address city. Otherwise, let's get the marked address and state. Okay, close those brackets. Now what we can do is we can go back to here. We can pick on this and we can see where it brings up the value, and we can say this is now going to be city or state. Is this going to let me write? State or city. Okay, so it's going with Wyoming just because it's a different way of calculating it. If we change that, go back to 3. This is now Richmond. Okay. Rangeboro. Yeah, you see. So now we can right click, zoom up, drill up, hover over, which gives the state. Let's drill down into Illinois. You can now see we can go to Chicago. Okay, so lots of things you can do. It's easy enough to do that with the DAX. It's easy enough to go, right, we're going to do these way of working, and we can actually now make our tooltips work for us. We've got one tooltip that's working and doing double duty across this chart. What we would need to do, remember, is we said that if we wanted to get that drill through so that we could then actually go and see, well, what's the detail, say, within Chicago, we would need to do something different. So let's go to another new page and let's build a drill through. So for this time, what we're going to do is we're going to say, right, we've got a new page, page information. It's going to be a drill through from. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to say, right, where we want the drill through to be from city. Okay, so we're going to pick the city. Okay, so we're going to drill through from a city to here. So what we want then is we're going to put in a map. And the map is just going to be postal code. Okay, and you can see it goes a bit crazy with postal code. So we should probably tell you what, let's bring back in. No, we'll leave that. Okay. Again, this is where you need to really think through what's going on there. I'm just going to copy this. Okay, so we'll keep the similar layout over here. Paste it here. Okay, although what we're going to do this time is instead of Wyoming, actually that should work, shouldn't it? Let's see what goes on with the case. So we've got to here. So we can now go back to 3. We're drilled down here. We can right click on this. We'll see there's a drill through now. Goes to page 7. Come through to Chicago, and we see we've got these 2 areas here, which is again one of those things. So we would need to check and see what's the best way to get this drill through to work better. So if we bring city in as well, but we expand that down, so we've got that. Let's see what happens now. If we go back to page 3, if we right click, let's drill up. Okay, let's go to somewhere else. Let's go to, say, California. Let's drill down from California. You see, we didn't have the drill through until we got down there. Let's go into San Francisco. Let's drill through. Let's see, page 7. San Francisco, we get the various areas broken down. Okay. So we haven't done too much with this so far, but what we could do is we could say, all right, so we've got this. So we could bring in total quantity sold. That's the bubble size. And the tooltip could be sales map. Okay, so they're going to be able to show you that, but also the map. So we're actually starting to suddenly get more. And again, we've got a tooltip, so we could build another custom tooltip here. We could do a further drill through from each of those. We could do lots of things. But you're starting to see we've used maps quickly, easily, and efficiently to kind of get to that point where we're able to zoom up, zoom down. Let's make this actually Azure Maps, because that's what we're doing, isn't it? And we've got everything that we would need. So we've got the map. Brilliantly, perfect. We understand now what we need to do. What other map types are there that we've got really within Power BI and that we should kind of be aware of? And is there anything that we should really know about them, or is there issues or challenges that we might face with them? So one of the map types that we've got, and this is maybe the one that might be ideal here, is the filled map. Okay, this one here, the filled map. Now, the filled map is filled, it fills an area. But what it misses is the ability to really put any information on that area. So if we change this to a filled map, let's see how this works. I don't know. Yeah, so we now see actually what those areas are. We can hover over and we've got the tooltips telling us what's going on with them. So for us and the way we work, this might be a better map to use in terms of that this is the important bit to us. Which bit of San Francisco have we got customers in? Where are we selling to? Is there something we should be doing around this area or this area? You know, what can we do? So there's more information, and of course you get your little let's go back button on your tooltip. And we can choose to go up and drill up. And again, these are all buttons that you can kind of start to put onto visuals as well. There's things you can do with them, but we're getting that navigation here, and you're starting to see how that navigation is pieced together. And all for the benefit of really making maps kind of sing for us. Now, the issue or the downside, as it were, if we drill into, let's go into Texas. We mentioned Texas, we never went into it. Let's drill down into Texas. Okay, so we can see areas in Texas. Let's go to Houston, right? Like drill through. We can now see these are the areas around Houston where we're landing sales. Now, the filled map, the big gotcha with the filled map is there's no real way of showing the difference. So we've got this 181, 184, and 90. So there's kind of like, this is half the value of the others. It's not really telling you that. It's also half the size, well, but you know, which again, your dots potentially don't tell you. So there's pros and cons, but it's difficult, I would say, with this. Let's see, what can we do? If we click on there, you can see there's not really any options to make it better. In theory, we could use the colors. Actually, we could probably use colors and build some sort of a sales or do something with it and use conditional formatting to try and help. But yeah, I'll leave it up to you. You know, you can experiment. There is an awful lot of experimentation you can do with the maps to make them work optimally for you. But yeah, that's what it is. What it is. Okay, the last one that we've got, and I'm going to go to a new page for this specifically, is shape maps. Okay, now shape maps you have to enable still. So you do that by going File, Options and Settings, Options, and under Preview Features, you'll find shape maps. I think it's the second or third from the top. You can tell I've done this far too many times. Second from the top, okay? Tick the box for it. Shape maps have been in preview for as long as I've been using Power BI, pretty much. I think they were pretty early into Power BI, within 2 years, I'd say. Kind of looked at them for a long time. I don't know what to do with them. And then, yeah, finally had the option. What we've got here, though, because we've got US data, I'm going to bring them in. Okay, it looks like a map. Okay, now what shape maps are not, which is confusing, is they are not maps. Shape maps are a line drawing where a polygon is assigned a name, right? And that name is then used as a way of mapping data to it. That's where shape map comes from. But it's not actually a thing. So we're going to click in name. So state, and you can see it's brought, oh yeah, we've got all the states. Brilliant. Okay, but we can hover over it and it shows us kind of what's going on. Okay, so we get information there. Color saturation, we could choose to turn around and say, let's make that by sales amount. Okay, and you can see we've now got some way of viewing quite quickly and easily what's happened. And in a lot of ways, this is quite a nice map to use for what we need because we've got something that maps to it. So US states map to it. If you look through some of the others, you see, you know, as long as you've got stuff that maps to these, it's great. If you don't, you need to then build a shapefile or find one. I can take you through doing some of that we've done in New York. We'll probably do a specific video just about the New York shapefile. In general, the main thing to think about is how many polygons have you got? The more polygons, the slower it will be to render and build, and that then decreases the performance of it. So kind of US states, your 50 is kind of all right, it's decent, it will work. If you start going down and saying, well, we want everything, we want to be able to have like the full postal code level for the US here, you'd have too many data points for it to work. And in that point, then it becomes really difficult to keep it working in a functional way, and it doesn't render well either. So there's trade-offs, but it's a nice familiar way of working, and it does give a very good result for a lot of things. So I'd definitely say it's worth having a look and worth using them, but be warned that if you have to bring in your own custom shape file or something like that, A, it can be difficult to find, and B, it can be challenging to make sure that it does retain everything you need it to do. The last one I'm going to talk about today, and we won't really do any demos with it, but it's not really anything I really would do with it, I'll be honest, is ArcGIS. So if your business and your organization has gone down the ArcGIS route, okay, which many organizations have, there's nothing wrong with it, okay, it's a really good tool. You can actually integrate it into your Power BI reports. So if you've got your ArcGIS server, you can bring that through and you can actually start to use layers on your report stuff. So I know, for example, like the city council here, they use theirs to map things like public, like the bins on the streets. You could then actually potentially put together something showing like weight of rubbish collected from bins, frequency of pickups, those kind of things. Challenges where issues are raised. So you could have a Microsoft form that members of the public could put stuff on, and it would then update and set a flag on a bin for the map. So there's all these things you can do. It's not rocket science. It's fairly simple to do, but it all ties in with that. So the ArcGIS side is worth knowing it's there. As I say, without having an ArcGIS server tied to it, it's just a different map. It looks just like a different map. But it is very useful. And I know for those organizations that do use it, it's well worth knowing that it is there. So what do you reckon then? Okay, now, in terms of maps and the capabilities of maps within Power BI, they do an awful lot of heavy lifting for you in terms of getting your data sets out there, getting people to understand what's going on. So I would really recommend taking the time and the effort to get to know what's going on and know the maps that you're going to use. We touched on something as well there, didn't we, in terms of familiarity of maps, and a big part of that is also going to be around the standards that you use within your organization. Should we use light maps? Should we use satellite maps? Do we have a point where we say if at this level it needs to be a satellite so that you can actually see something, Azure Maps, for example, also has traffic layering that you can put on. You might say never ever turn traffic layering on, because why would you need to know current traffic when you're looking at last month's sales data? It's like, but it's nice to know that these features are there in the event that you're going to do like a live report or something like that night. So, it's nice to know where the traffic is when we're looking at, well, where do we need to deliver? Or if we went back to our city council example, if we need to go and pick up the rubbish from the bin that's here, what's the traffic like? Those kind of things are nice to know. So you can kind of see the value add from a lot of these things, but it's worth making sure that you clearly document and your center of excellence is aware of the map types that they're going to use and how you're going to use maps within your organization, also that you can really benefit the most from them. That all makes sense? You inspired, you think, I'm going to do this. Okay. The other thing we also did, don't forget, was actually really looking properly now. Did that proper demo where we built the stuff in, didn't we? Where we had tooltips, we were going up and down, and also then that drill through. What we didn't do was put in an external tooltip or an external drill through, sorry, which is fine. I mean, I'm not going to sweat too much about it. We've got other weeks to do it. But the key thing is for you to see that this map functionality allowed us to go up and down, but also then allowed us to present more data for it. So just as we've done with all the reports that we build, and I'll be honest, kind of drill through, drill up, drill down, it's one of those things. You need to learn how to do it because every report needs it. You can't just have, here's a top figure number, right? You need to have, this is the top number, and then you drill through and down into actually what does that number mean? What's the support for it? Is that number meaning what we think it means? Yeah, because you can have, going like a classic, like an IT service desk, for example, right? An IT service desk will have an SLA potentially for it. So we've got, say, a 90% SLA, tickets be resolved, 90% tickets that are resolved and resolved on time. Did you hear the key word there, that are resolved? So what we're really saying is, and I'm laughing because I've seen this so many times, what we're really saying is if it's resolved late, it's a problem. So if it's late, we don't resolve it. They just stay open. And then you suddenly go, okay, so management crack down and say, well, someone's flagged that the number of open tickets is going up, so they all need to be closed. So they close them on the first of the month and then drop all the SLAs, which gives them a chance to build them back up. Honestly, like service desk, like fudging of figures is great. And it happens in everything. Kind of what gets measured is what gets done is what we say. So if you're saying we need 90% success rate, that people won't go, oh, well, I was wrong and I didn't do this properly and things like that. They'll just leave them in a corner until they can get away with it and maybe squeeze them through at some point. If it's fine, it becomes an issue. So you need to have the ability to drill down and really explore them and understand what that figure means, and that you've got support metrics to really validate that this metric is good and that the yay is actually a yay. Yeah. Champion. If you like what you've seen and you think to yourself, do you know what? This is exactly what we need in our organization. Geordie Consulting is here to help you. You're going to just put a QR code up. You can book a meeting with me. We'll work out what we can do to help your business take your data to the next level. You want to see down below, we've got the link with the same link, QR code, take your pick. Look forward to hearing from you. For now, though, stay safe, take care, ta-da.